Good morning, third graders. I'm back today to read you chapter 13, The Wolf Pack. Miss Bogart just read to you about the boys, Connor and Alex, being in the fairy kingdom, finding the fairy tricks, and Connor standing up for her, being very brave and helping the fairies realize there were a lot of problems out there in the world that they should be dealing with. And they met the walking fisher from the story their dad had told them. So chapter 13, A Wolf Pack. There was blood everywhere. White feathers and bits of wood covered the ground. A driver had been transporting a cart full of geese into the northern kingdom when the big bad wolf pack attacked. The only thing that remained in one piece was the green floppy hat the driver had been wearing. The wolves were spread out under the trees, chewing on the bones of their victims. Malumkla jerked his head and sat up and stared into the trees. Someone was coming. He could smell them. Whoever this person was, their scent made him anxious. "We've got company," Malumkla growled. All the wolves jumped to their feet, ready to attack again if they had to, but they were no match for who was approaching them. A dark, hooded figure slowly moved through the trees and up to the wolves. It stood fearlessly in front of them for a moment before unveiling itself. "Hello, Malumkla," said the evil queen. "Who are you?" Malumkla barked. The woman before him, less than half his size, was making the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. "You don't know me, but you know of me," the woman said. "Everyone does," said the evil queen. "It's the evil queen," Wolf snarled. Malumkla began shifting his weight on his front paws. He was intimidated, and he didn't like it. "You have a lot of nerve approaching my pack," he said. "I should have one of my wolves rip your throat out." Man, they're pretty violent, aren't they? Malumkla began shifting his weight on his front paws. He was intimidated. "I dare you to," the evil queen said. There wasn't an ounce of fear in her body. She walked closer to them, and the wolves cowered back, Malumkla included. "What do you want from us?" he demanded. "I've come to make a deal," said the evil queen. "We don't make deals," Malumkla growled. "You will once you know what I have to offer," the evil queen said. This intrigued the wolf. "What kind of deal?" he asked. "A trade," the evil queen said. "There are 2 children traveling through the kingdoms, 1 boy and 1 girl, twins. I want you to find them and bring them to me unscathed." That means unharmed. "You want children?" Malumkla growled. "They have several things actually, that I need," the evil queen said. "I would do it myself, but I'm indisposed at the moment." "And if we bring them to you, what will you give us in return?" asked Malumkla. "When you bring them to me, I shall give you the one thing you want more than anything else in the world," the evil queen said. Malumkla laughed. "Wolves want for nothing," he said. The evil queen stared at him as if she were looking into his soul. "Is that so?" she asked. "Then why do you and your pack crusade around the lands, terrorizing everything in your path? What are you trying to prove? Whose revenge are you seeking?" Malumkla was silent. He couldn't deny it. I will give you the one thing that will avenge your father's death wholly, the evil queen said, and I will give you Red Riding Hood in exchange for the twins. All the wolves, including Malumkla, growled their doubts, but the idea was intriguing to them. And how could you possibly do that? He said. The evil queen looked at him so sternly that his heart began to race. Do not question me, the queen said. I will have the young queen in my possession by the end of the week. Bring me the children and I will hand her over to you. Do we have a deal or not? Malumkla looked at the frightened members of his pack. They nodded at him. They didn't want to upset the queen. Deal, Malumkla said, but let me warn you, if you fail to keep your end of the bargain, we'll snap your neck like a twig. The evil queen walked up to the wolf and stood inches from his face, looking at him forcefully in the eye. Let me warn you, said the queen, fail to keep your part, and I'll have you all turned into rugs, just as Red Riding Hood did your father. And if you ever threaten me again, I will skin you myself. Malumkla froze. The evil queen knew she had him exactly where she wanted him. See you soon, she said. She put her hood back over her head and disappeared into the trees in the direction she had come from. All the wolves stood still for a moment, afraid to move. What are we waiting for? Malumkla shouted, his pride bruised. We have twins to find. They charged into the horizon, howling in unison. The sound was deafening. See you tomorrow.